Yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much again to have me here. I am Zhana Goginashvili. I am Georgian, but last 11 years I live in London. I graduated Masters in Autism from London South Bank University, and currently I'm doing my PhD in IPSU, International Black Sea University. So today my presentation is about inclusive education in England, policies, challenges, and effective classroom interventions. I tried to put very important bits in my presentation. Please feel free if you want me to expand something, or if you have any questions, and then something is more interesting for you. So if I start with my study overview, this presentation draws from a mixed method study involving 10 primary school teachers in England. Objectives are investigate the implementation of inclusive education policies, examine effective classroom interventions, identify systematic barriers to inclusion. So data collection included Likert scale surveys and open-ended responses, providing both quantitative and qualitative insights into current practices. If I start introduction to inclusive education, what is inclusive education in general? So inclusive education aims to ensure that all students, regardless their ability or background, they can have same access in mainstream settings. I'm not going to go deep down into legislations because I put more details into my presentation. Somehow I thought I had half an hour. So I'm just going to jump, a few bits to make it a bit shorter. So I've got some key legislation policies if you guys interested. So there we go. So we've got some Children and the Family Act 2014, which, UK follows, the Equality Act 2010, and what is most important, true policy in the education healthcare plan, which coordinates support across services for children with complex needs. These frameworks reflect commitments to the UN Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities. Conceptual interpretations of inclusion. So I've highlighted one of the study, which is Goranson and Needham 2014, which describes some of the key importance bits about inclusion, placement of students with SEND in mainstream schools, participation, belongings, academic and social outcomes, comprehensive systematic transformations. And then most important, what are the challenges to implementation? So yes, we say all these, policies and rules and everything, which, government made, but how it is, in practice, how we can do this, how we can actually practice, transfer policies into practice, what kind of challenges these days teachers face. And then I've got some key informations that when I was interviewing teachers, they've highlighted. Insufficient training and continuing professional development, funding cuts affecting resources allocation, because these days funding, the government, they cut funding, so which is one of the, very important things when it comes to inclusion, because more SEN kids you've got in school, more funding you need to make inclusive education successful. Delays in assessments and EHCP plans. Sometimes EHCP plan to come back from services can take long and long and long. So that's why it makes teachers' work even more difficult. High teacher workload and time limitations. This leads to variability and inconsistency in inclusive practices. So if we talk about the teacher training and the development more, initial teacher education often lacks sufficient focus on SEND. Teachers report feeling underprepared, relying heavily on personal experience and informal peer support. CPD is seen as virtual, yet access is limited and often non-practical. The early career framework offers a foundation for improvement, but needs expansion and alignment with inclusive educational goals. I've highlighted some effective inclusive strategies when I was interviewing teachers. They've highlighted, and from my own practice as well, these kind of interventions are really useful at school. So, for example, colorful semantics emphasize sentences structure and the communication. Lego therapy builds social interaction skills. You can imagine like 3 kids, they play with the Lego, they've got different rules. One is the builder, the one gives the instruction, and then that way, they rotate and they kind of giving instruction to each other, and then they can, interact with each other, and then just to have a nice interaction for like, let's say 10 or 15 minutes. So it's a great intervention. Sensory tools also helps manage stress and sensory overload. I think it's often get really overwhelmed, very tired, and they often need a sensory break. That's why nearly every teacher highlighted that sensory tools are one of the very important bits when we talk about strategies and interventions. Also used peer meditate learning. Often SEN kids finding really difficult to work with many people. So often we've got kids, like 30 kids in a one classroom, and they find really difficult. That's why little group practice works really well. And then body systems is what one-to-one work and little group work. So that's what the teachers also highlighted. Technology is working really well as well. I've got some examples that which is effective. For example, speech-to-text software, visual schedule and times table reading, and the language support apps, because often SEN kids, they don't have enough speech, and we've got lots of apps that can use in an everyday life, and then these apps makes really easy to interact with the teachers and with the friends as well. They can share what they want sometimes that they can't do verbally. School culture and the leadership. Successful inclusion requires international leadership committed to inclusive values, resource allocated and CPD, investments, celebrating diversity and promoting shared responsibilities. So I've got the SENCO roles as well, which is the SEN coordinator in schools. Teachers highlighted that importance of collaboration with the SENCO, teaching assistants and external specialists, peer support and team teaching, structure planning, and the communication. When all these people get together and they work together, it actually can be really effective. So if I tell you quantitative findings, that obviously I've got some, key findings, but I'm not going to go into details. I'm just going to tell you the t-test results confirm the significant confidence and collaboration, but not neutral training and resource perceptions and qualitative themes, policy practice gap, need for hand-on training, which we kind of covered in my presentation, high value of structured intervention, strong informal collaboration, time and the workload as consistent barriers. And in a conclusion and recommendation, the key conclusion was that teachers are committed to inclusive education, practical training, leadership and resource remain challenges. Collaboration and targeted interventions are key enablers, and for recommendation, we've got expand the CPD programs for inclusive strategies, invest in inclusive and infrastructure and technology, strengthen school-wide leadership and culture. Thank you. If you have any question or if you have time to expand something that you want me to, please feel free. Thank you.